welcome back to MKB, welcome back to Mellow Nose Ball. And you know it's that time, it's that World Cup time. It's time for the biggest sporting event in the world. It's time for the greatest competition in football to kick off. And it's actually kicking off today. At the time of recording, so hey, it's gonna be that time. You know what I'm saying? It's when club football is time to put it to a side. You know what I'm saying? It's time for the individuals to shine, because that's what the World Cup is all about. It's about the individual. When you look at club football, it's more on the lines of your tactics, the signings you bring in. It's all those type of things. You look at more of that aspect of the game. But when it comes to the World Cup, you look at the individual brilliance. You look at the superstars. You look at people that grab the game by the scruff of the neck and just carry you. And that is what brings aboard this video. But before we carry on, make sure you subscribe. It's World Cup time, man. You know I'm going to get a lot of content on the World Cup now. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. You know what I'm saying? So, when it comes to the World Cup, obviously we have people who are going to perform, who are going to be superstars, who are going to make their names here at this competition, like the likes of Zidane, the likes of Ronaldo Rosario, the likes of Maradona, right? Many of people, I haven't even watched these people, but I know that these people have made their names at World Cups. But also, a lot of players are going to come into this with a lot of pressure. So that's why I decided, considering all the players that are in this World Cup, why not make a list of the top 5 players with the most pressure going into this World Cup? And there's a lot of players, a lot of honorable mentions also that I would have had, but after thinking about every single player, I think I've made my list, right? My own perspective, my list of who I think are the 5 players who will have the most pressure going into this World Cup. So, to start it off, right, the first player who I think is going into this World Cup with the 5th most pressure out of every other player is Ousmane Dembele. Yeah, man, if we all remember properly, right, Ousmane Dembele was 4 years ago, was in the World Cup final. And in that World Cup final, in the first half, he was hooked off. 4 years later, he's won 2 Champions Leagues. He's won a Ballon d'Or and is now regarded as one of the best players in the world. Now, a lot of that alone is unbelievable, right? But then you also need to look at it now that he's heading into this World Cup as a superstar. He's heading into this World Cup with his reputation really, really at its highest right now. So because of that, we have a lot of expectations for you, Ousmane Dembele. For someone who's regarded as one of the best players in the world now, for someone for a very long time has been seen as an amazing talent, you haven't really done much for France. You know what I'm saying? Like, you haven't really performed at the best of your ability for France, especially since we know what you are capable of. So I think it's going to be a very interesting thing to watch Ousmane Dembele in this World Cup. But hopefully he will translate his club form into his France national team. You know what I'm saying? And we'll have to see if he performs at the same level. But I think right now he's probably the person I'd say is at 5th right now, right? He's probably the person that's 5th. In fourth place, the person I think has the 4th most pressure. And honestly, I think this person could have been a lot higher if it wasn't for another specific player being selected into their national team. But I'm going to have him 4th now because, I still think he has a lot of pressure on him. And that is Vinicius Jr. Now, we all know what Vinicius Jr. did a few years ago. We know Vinicius Jr. is an amazing footballer. We know he's a brilliant player and a big game player. And he's one of those players in Europe who just has that X factor. However, when it comes to Vinicius Jr., when it comes to the Brazilian national team, Vinicius Jr. has done absolutely nothing. And it's very damning for such a superstar. Because Vinicius Jr. is a superstar. He is one of the best players in the world, one of the best left wingers in the world. But for him to have not really done anything for Brazil, it's damning. It really is damning. It's really sad also, I have to admit. And Vinicius Jr. right now is coming off of 2 years where I think since that Ballon d'Or shout where he felt like he was snubbed for the Ballon d'Or, since then Vinicius Jr. has kind of been in a downward spiral. Especially with everything going on with Madrid, his performances, he's been really going on downward spiral. And I think he's entering this World Cup now, and I'm thinking to myself, Vinicius, you're one of the best players in the world, so you need to show this. You need to show this. And if you don't show it now, when will it be? You've had plenty of opportunities now to show that you are probably the heir for this Brazilian team. Then you're probably going to lead this next generation of the Brazilian team. So if you don't do it now, I mean, Neymar's gonna need a running mate. So that's why I think, and that's another reason why I think Vinicius has a lot that's gonna be off his chest, or a lot of weight lifted off of him because of the fact that Neymar was taken. Because if it wasn't, then I think Vinicius Jr. probably would have been the player who's wearing that number 10. Vinicius Jr. would have been the person who he would have looked at, and I think he would have been probably the person with the most pressure. But alas, obviously that pressure has been alleviated. But Vinicius Jr., we are looking at you. We will be looking at you, and you need to perform. You need to perform, especially for this Brazil team. I mean, it's Brazil. Brazil is known for the World Cup, so he needs to show himself here, and hopefully he does. All right, hopefully he does. Next, the person I have third on this list is Harry Kane. Now, Harry Kane is probably the player who's on course to winning a Ballon d'Or this season. Obviously, considering the Champions League winners PSG, that could differ. Obviously, Kvaratskhelia obviously is in there too. But when you look at the numbers, when you look at the performances, when you look at how he's obviously won the Bundesliga, how he's been having unbelievable performances this season, Harry Kane is probably in the best form of his life right now, right? Harry Kane right now is one of the best strikers in the world, best players in the world. But let's be honest, Harry Kane is one of those players who just hasn't done it for England. He just hasn't done it for England. And Harry Kane has had moments. He's had opportunities to do it. We remember that the penalty against France where he should have buried it. We look at the times where he's been needed in semi-finals. He's been needed in finals, like back with Italy. He was needed in finals. Nothing. He couldn't do anything. And that's very damning for Harry Kane, because Harry Kane is an amazing player. He's a brilliant striker. Like we know the numbers this man puts up is unbelievable. I wouldn't be surprised if the top goal scorer for this World Cup. I wouldn't be surprised. But we need more from him. I think we need Harry Kane to make one of these tournaments his own, right? We need that type of performance from him. And England definitely needs it, because he is the captain. He's the captain. He's the leading man. He's the man coming in with the best form, with the best season. And you need to show that you are a Ballon d'Or candidate. You need to show why you're considered that. So we can only hope that he does it. Obviously, England can only hope that he does so. Do I think he's going to do it? I don't know. And considering his age too, this could be one of his last World Cups, which puts even more pressure on him, because unlike someone like a Vinny, for example, I think Vinny probably still has a lot more World Cups in him, maybe 2 or 3 more, so that's why maybe he's lower on the list. Kane, this is probably one of your last opportunities, right? So he's gonna really need to deliver for England, and not just in the group stages, Kane, because obviously we know what you can do in the group stages. We know you can stockpile your goals there, right? Round of 32, we need to see you. Round of 16, we need to see you. You know what I'm saying? Like quarterfinal, semi-final, final. We need to be able to see you when it counts, right? I'm not saying let's go in every single knockout stage. No, if you can, that'd be great. But when the team needs you, when they need a goal, when they need someone to rise, when they need someone to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, You need to be that person. You need to be. You are their leader. You're the person they're looking at. I mean, I look at a lot of those English players this season, right? Like Jude Bellingham. I don't think he has had the best season this season, right? I'm looking at Rashford, Gordon. I'm looking at the likes of maybe Rice. I get it. Rice, okay, he's had a pretty good season this season, right? Anderson's had a pretty good season. But realistically, you are the person they're looking at. You are the best player on the team right now, and you need to prove that. You need to show that in your performances, and you need to lead your team. So that is Harry Kane at my third place. After Harry Kane, in second place, who I think has the second most pressure for this World Cup, is Kylian Mbappe. Now, Kylian Mbappe. I sat here on this channel when he first joined Real Madrid. When he joined Real Madrid, I remember making a video and speaking on the fact that Europe should be scared. Europe should be terrified of the fact that Kylian Mbappe was going to join Real Madrid. And this was coming off of that performance that he had in that World Cup final back in like 2022, right? In that World Cup final, scoring a hat trick in the World Cup final, putting the fear of God in Argentina. 4 years later, Kylian Mbappe's stocks have never been lower. They've never been lower than this. Kylian Mbappe needs this World Cup. I need to reaffirm this to you people. Kylian Mbappe needs this World Cup. Not because he hasn't won it before. No. Kylian Mbappe is obviously, he's proven himself to be a world-class player. Even if Mbappe retired now, he'd be one of the best players who have ever played the sport, right? But I think Kylian Mbappe needs this World Cup because he needs to reaffirm himself as one of the best players in the world. Because I think what Kylian Mbappe right now is holding on to is that 2022 World Cup. Because anytime someone speaks about Kylian Mbappe right now, it's kind of a situation of like, Kylian Mbappe scores goals. He scored like 40 goals. But what did they amount to? Trophyless seasons. What did it really amount to, right? Like, but then people be like, but that World Cup though. We saw what he did in that World Cup. Like when you look at Mbappe left PSG. PSG has won 2 Champions League since him. So we look like, was really Mbappe the problem? But then we look at it like, but that World Cup though, that performance at that World Cup, what he did in that World Cup, what he did for that France team, can you really say he's the problem for doing that? This is why I think he needs this World Cup. Because if Mbappe does not perform at this World Cup, if he doesn't have a brilliant World Cup, I think the last thing that he's holding on to, he kind of loses it now. Right? Because now we're just looking at someone who left the team. That team went on to win a treble, went on to win 2 Champions League, and the team he joined has gone trophyless for 2 seasons. And bear in mind, the team that he did join had already won the Champions League without him. And then he joins and they stop winning trophies at all. So that's why I think Mbappe needs this for his reputation. I think for his stock in the game. I think he needs this. I think he desperately needs to have a very good World Cup. And I actually want to see him have a good World Cup, because whether I like it or not, whether I want France to win or not, I think Mbappe is one of the best players in the world. And when Mbappe is at his best, he's one of the most entertaining players to watch. He is one of the best players in the world. He is terrifying. I still think, even to this day, even though I think Lamine's probably the best player in the world, right? If I'm just looking at who's the best player, probably Lamine. Who's been the best player this season? I'm looking like the Kane, Kvaratskhelia, you know what I'm saying? But when I look at everyone in Europe, and I think if everyone's playing at their best, I think Mbappe is still the best player in the world, right? If everyone is playing at their best, I think he's the best, because he's that terrifying. We've seen how terrifying Mbappe is, but he needs this World Cup. He needs to perform. He needs to perform to bring back those stocks in him. So that's the second. That's my second. And who is the player with the most pressure this World Cup? It can really honestly be one guy. And that is Neymar Jr. Neymar Jr. is the player with the most pressure this World Cup, and it's actually quite. I find it so crazy that we're back here again, because not I think 2 years ago, probably 2 years ago, I made a video on Neymar, and I was calling him already the prince that wasn't crowned king. I'd written off Neymar, and I've spoke on Neymar being that he was never able to fulfill his potential and everything like that. And now a few years later, we're here now speaking on Neymar because of the fact that this is probably his last opportunity to write his name in history. Like, Neymar's already in the history books, right? Though let's not get it twisted also. But I think there is still an element of disrespect that goes towards Neymar. A lot of disrespect that goes towards him. And I think Neymar needs this World Cup because of the fact that he has the most pressure, because of the fact that a whole entire nation, his whole entire nation needed Neymar. They needed Neymar to be here. People were begging for Neymar to be here. People were praying for Neymar to be here. Carlo Ancelotti, I'm pretty sure Carlo Ancelotti was not going to have Neymar at this World Cup, but he was pressured by an entire nation to have him in this World Cup. There's no other choice. And now Neymar has the whole weight of an entire nation on his shoulder. He has the entire nation on his shoulder, the entire team. I think now Neymar's in a situation where, honestly, if he doesn't perform, I think Neymar gets looked at in a very different way now. I think because right now, already I think Neymar is respected, but I think people can still respect the fact that he's one of the most talented players ever. But I think if Neymar doesn't perform in this World Cup, I think it might be really wraps for him. And you know what makes it even worse? I don't think Neymar's going to have the World Cup everyone thinks he's going to have. I think because of the injuries Neymar's had, because of how much pressure that's on him. Do I think he can handle the pressure? Yes, but I think physically his body won't be able to. I think Neymar is not going to live up to this hype. And that terrifies me because I love Neymar. I enjoy watching Neymar. I think Neymar is one of the best players in the world, but I don't think Neymar is going to be able to give the performances that will lead Brazil to win the World Cup. I don't think so. I hope I'm wrong. I do hope that I'm wrong, but I don't think he's gonna make it there. And because then that's why I think Neymar here stands to lose the most, and I think he stands to gain the most with this World Cup. That's how I feel about Neymar. I think that's the situation that he's in, because I think if he wins this World Cup, I think he gets put on a pedestal that is the likes of Ronaldinho, the likes of R9. I think he gets put with at upper echelons of footballers, especially for Brazil, right? But I think also if he enters this World Cup, he doesn't perform, and he doesn't help Brazil win it, already I think Neymar is one of the most respected players ever. I think if he doesn't perform, I think it gets even worse for him. I think a lot of people will turn their back on him. Do I think he still has a very good legacy? Yes. But I do think that if he doesn't perform this World Cup, it's gonna be dark for him. It's going to be really dark for him. And I do hope for the best for him. I really do. But it's gonna be tough. And yeah, that is my top 5. To reiterate, my top 5 players with the most pressure this World Cup. In 5th place, I have Ousmane Dembele. 4th place, I have Vinicius Jr. 3rd place, I have Harry Kane. 2nd place, I have Kylian Mbappe. And in 1st place, I have Neymar Jr. So hey guys, I'm gonna be making sure to try and record as much content as I can for this World Cup. I'm gonna be watching a lot of games. I'm gonna be staying tuned and everything like that. So yeah, we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see how things go. But yeah, man, stay tuned. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, stay free, stay mellow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Peace out.